the rush hour on Triple M. That's Nirvana. You've got JB and Bill, and now...
Billy Brownless thinks he's a newsbreaker. But let's introduce him to a real one. On Triple M's Rush Hour, it's Jay-Z Clark.
And demanding his own intro.
Yes,
which
exactly.
I like.
And he's good too.
Shows
We like
there's
him.
some swagger attached to our man. Welcome to you, Jay-Z.
Hello, JB and Bill. I stole your little gag there, didn't I? You did the thing.
That's all right, Jay.
I thought that was
Okay.
pretty funny, so
I'm
I
happy
went with
with
that
that.
myself.
How you feeling? Okay, up and about?
I'm feeling good. You poking fun at me being hung up, mate. I was drunk responsibly.
Yes.
Unlike you, I just went to the Espy for a mate's 40th. I had about 6 beers and then had a pizza at Topolino's afterwards, and I was good as gold on Sunday.
Were you good as gold when
Yeah,
you were on air?
I was pretty good. I was pretty good as gold.
Fat, don't you start.
Aidan Bonner.
We've
by the way.
spoken to you on a number of occasions when the question has to be asked whether you're actually fit to broadcast.
Well, that's any day, Jim.
Oh,
So it just
Yes.
all goes into the
Yes.
same.
mid-season draft,
Yes.
we are not far away from that.
Yeah, so the AFL has contacted clubs today. There's some news on this, Jim, to try and shut down a loophole or to shut down a loophole that saw Hawthorn get Jai Newcomb last year. So they got him with pick 2, and he's been an absolute find for the Hawks. So hard and tough. But what happened? He was the only player in last year's mid-season draft who essentially put a price on his head.
Yeah.
So all the other players just happy to get a go, minimum terms, minimum chips. He said, and with Sam Mitchell's backing, I want more. That helps scare off other clubs and helps secure his passage to Hawthorn. Now,
From Box Hill, so they had good intel on him.
Yeah.
they were
yeah.
all over him like stink on a monkey, it's fair to say, Jim. But what happened is rival clubs were unhappy about it. They kicked up such a fuss. Hawthorn had to get him picked 2 anyway. But today there has been a step, and that is where the AFL has sent out the memo to all the clubs and said any previously unlisted player must all play for minimum chips, Bill. So you
Good.
can't say I demand 300 grand because that means I'll get to North Melbourne or whichever club, or I'll blow up whoever's salary cap. So it's all an even playing field.
Good.
It's almost old school recruiting, this move,
Yep.
Jim,
That was, wasn't it?
which I sort of don't mind, to
No,
be
well
honest.
done.
Bit
Well
of
done.
stealth,
These
bit
guys,
of Andrew Mackey.
But what do you mean?
Well, that's 100% what happened with Mack.
Well, he was tucked away.
Yeah, they got him out in private school over there in Adelaide and just said, listen, don't play for the next 2.5 years.
When they
That's
picked
right.
him at 7,
He did.
picked him at 7, everyone's going, who?
Well, finally, and how good was he, by the way? Now the Bombers.
Yes.
It's been a very disappointing start to the season, and
Yep.
the Jungle Drums are beating.
Yeah, so there's a lot of heat on this footy club, clearly. It's questions now about the game plan. Last year, they were very Richmond-like. This year, it's been a more high possession style, it's fair to say. There's questions about the leadership vacuum in the list and some of the recruiting, of course. And we've heard some...
They can't kick goals.
No, well, without Tip and Woody,
Yep.
Devon Smith's not there. The pressure's been absent. So you defend from your forward
Stringer.
line.
Yep.
Stringer hasn't been there. So teams have been able to cut them apart. Now,
But, Jay-Z,
Yes.
if you're playing a final last year with a young emerging list,
yes.
your fans are well and truly entitled to think next
Yep.
year's going to be better.
I think we all were, weren't
Yeah,
we?
But you know that the fixture, Jim, isn't an even playing
No,
field.
it is
right?
not.
I think they only beat one top 8 team last year.
Right.
So they beat up on a lot of the bottom teams and probably weren't up to it against the final sides. And they've been found out this year. That said, their form has been really stinky. But Devon Smith's the man I want to focus on here because he's been dropped from the best 22 twice now. He's now out for another 2 to 4 weeks with a knee injury. And there's talk in clubland that he could be gettable. In fact, for not much, I reckon you could probably get him at the end of the
28,
year.
would he be, Dev?
28 spot on. He's contracted for one more year. Whether he's in the club's plans going forward. Bill, a good Lara boy, played for GWS, of course.
Yep.
So he is one. So Dylan Shield was the name who's
Yes.
been mentioned for the past couple of weeks, but I think you'll find that Devon Smith, with Essendon trying to look to bolster its draft position, he could be one on the way
How
out.
did
Also,
you view, before we get to the three youngsters, how did you view the Dylan Shield thing? You know, they make a statement, take him out of the team, and then play
Bring
him
him
as a
back
sub.
I
in.
thought
Yeah.
it was really odd.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jim. I think if you're going to drop him out of the 22 and make a statement, then he's not playing that week, I would have thought. Don't
All
you
right,
reckon?
Do
so
we
I
read
know-
into
I
the
thought it was
3
weird.
youngsters?
Well, Cox, Perkins, and Reed,
Not-
Yes.
all
Yeah,
unsigned.
the only ones of that draft crew to have unsigned, to have not signed. I think they will stay at Essendon. I don't think there's any doubt about that. I think it's just haggling on the terms and the length of contract.
Okay, so when I hear Perkins, and I don't know if it's true, you will be able to tell me.
Yep.
When I hear Perkins and his management are saying, I only want to commit for 2 years,
Yep.
that smacks of I'm not sure what's going on here. So I want to have the option to get out.
Yeah, and
That's fair enough, isn't it?
I think those questions about Essendon, it's a footy club, Jim, who hasn't played finals since such and such.
Or hasn't
walks-
won a final.
Hasn't won a final since the dark ages. So I think that's sort of keeping the club accountable to an extent. And Perkins is a very talented
Jeez,
young
he's a
player.
good kid, Perkins.
I don't mind it. Why sign your life away? And with these guys, their trajectory and their price can go up quickly when you're breaking into the scene. So I'm okay. I think all three deals will get done.
I'm not saying anything is wrong with the other two because there isn't, but Perkins is quality.
Yeah, and Nick Cox too. I mean, he could be.
Oh.
He's super versatile and a future star of the game. So it's a watch this space on the Bombers.
Speaking of massive names and trade market,
Brownless?
Yes.
Oh.
Well, Jordan De Goey is a big one we're all watching. Now,
I like the fact that you just walk past the Brownless. And so Jordan De Goey.
Surely not Jordan
yes.
De Goey.
Well,
Come
he
on,
wants to
Jay.
stay. He wants to stay. No, he wants to stay at Collingwood, and Collingwood at this stage is very happy with how he's performed and behaved this year.
Yes.
But it's got to be at the right price. So Graham Wright, who's one of the best negotiators and football people in the whole game, he would be happy to sign Jordan De Goey, I think, for the right price. If Jordan De Goey wants the mega bucks, the seven-figure deal, then he may have to go elsewhere. Now, they've already got Brodie Grundy and Darcy Moore there at Collingwood on good money. They'd be happy to keep Jordan, but I think it's got to be at the right price. That's the key in this negotiation here. But if he wants to chase the big bucks, then he may have to get that elsewhere. Daniel McStay
Hang on,
also...
just hold
Yes.
this thought because
Yep.
we've got McStay and Taranto we want to
Yes.
find out about as well. This is what he brings, Jay-Z.
Yes.
If you're out there and you're wondering if players are moving around or where they're going to go, how much they want,
What's he
this
doing? This.
look at him.
stuff, yeah.
There's actually something wrong with Bill. More with Jay-Z next.
History never repeats. This is a Triple M's Rush Hour with JB Bill, and Jay Clark is in today.
We love it, Jay-Z. In the house,
In the
Dan
house.
McStay
Yes.
will have lots of interest everywhere if he plans to move.
He certainly has. So Brisbane's put a deal to Daniel McStay. Very hard-working forward, big chest, takes a lot of grabs, strong marking target.
Big chest.
And with Joe Danaher and Eric Hipwood out at the time of the team, he is very important for the Lions. But look, there's all number of Victorian clubs into Daniel McStay at the moment. 600 grand is about the asking price we hear for 4 to 5 years. He's a Victorian boy, as we know, and the club who I'm just keeping my eye on is Collingwood in this space. So they realigned their salary cap. They got rid of Adam Treloar, Adam Stevenson to be able to be more proactive in this space. I know this sort of Mason Cox has fallen out of favour. Nathan Kruger from Geelong is up and coming. They need a proven...
Myercheck, who's a beauty, but
Yeah.
can't do it all
Needs
on his
something.
own.
getting to the end. So they need, and Jordan De Goey's future, still, as we said before, a little bit uncertain. So Daniel McStay be perfect for Collingwood. So would Jack Darling, but is he going to leave West Coast? So I think Collingwood, now that they've realigned their cap, was making moves on this front, and I wouldn't be surprised if McStay lands at Collingwood.
I think Daniel or McStay at Brisbane. What about Taranto?
Yes, so he's the pick number 2 at GWS. Speaking of interest, every club is ringing about him. Now, I think from his perspective, it's a bit of a wait and see on the coach Leon Cameron. I mean, it does.
Well, he's going, isn't he?
It does appear like the writing on the
You'd
wall.
think so.
And I think it could be a bit of a mutual decision.
Yeah,
Leon's
exactly.
been there
Both.
for
Yeah,
9
yeah.
or 10 years.
Spot on.
He could come back to Melbourne and carve out the rest of his coaching career out here, no problem. So from Tim Taranto's perspective, he's weighing up, do I want to see what happens with this coaching situation or do I just want to stay? He loves Sydney, but certainly a club like St Kilda has kept really close tabs on Tim Taranto. I'd expect him to stay, but I think he would like to know who his new boss might be before he recommits. And I
He's
think
a former Bayside operator. I think he's a Sandy Dragon, isn't he, Tim Taranto?
he is, and he is having a glorious time of it in Bondi, I'm told.
Is he?
Jim? So having
Surfing and that.
surfing, swimming, go to the cafe up there.
Oh, the
Occasional beer.
Coogee Pav.
Hey,
Mind you, Bill, the
Coogee Pav.
lure of Bayside. Lots of them want to come
I
back to
think
that magnificent
I
part
think
of the
he'd
world.
Stay in Bondi.
It's not
Jim.
bad in Bondi.
It's
Bondi.
pretty good down there,
I
Fat.
would stay in Bondi. Hey, what about Freo? Now, this is
Yep.
very interesting with COVID, and Jim asked a very good question before.
Well, do you want to touch on Todd Goldstein first
Yes.
before we get to
yes.
Freo?
Yes.
Todd, who I said
Yeah.
should have left 2 years ago,
Yeah.
would have been great for Geelong and Todd. What's going on there?
Well, Geelong were up to Todd Goldstein, up to their eyeballs in him, and he made
course
the
he's
very
both.
loyal decision to stay. And I think in hindsight, it's one of those ones when he could have joined a premiership contender. North Melbourne could have benefited with an early pick. Maybe his loyalty went against him. Now, because North Melbourne has been preferring Tristan Cherry to him at times, you sort of wonder whether Goldie could again have a look at a move to the Cats. join a premiership contender because Reece Stanley's sort of older. They're gone for John Segler. Todd Goldstein's a better ruckman than John Segler, Jim. Am I
No,
right?
he's in the top 2 or 3 tap ruckman
Yeah.
in the comp.
Yeah.
Like his soft hand and
Yeah.
dropping it into holes.
Yeah.
That's what he is elite at, which
Yeah.
is why I'm with you. I don't understand what North are doing because that is what he can do incredibly well.
But don't they have to focus? Don't they have to give Cherry a go? Calvin Colin Jones?
Yeah, so Goldie used to ruck 95% of the game. You could maybe bring him back to 70, but I'd still start him in there, especially
Yeah.
when you got a young midfield that needs some help.
Yeah.
Horn
But
Francis-
anyway,
Since
speaking
you
of-
left, Jim, basically it's fallen out.
Yeah,
Oh,
don't
hasn't
say
it?
that. 'Cause Horn Francis, he hasn't signed on again
Bill,
yet,
he's
has
7 games in.
Yes, he's sort of attracted some headlines for his heatedness.
That's
and,
all right.
But
That
he's,
happens in a game. That's fine.
he's going to stay. I mean, Adelaide
Gonna stay.
has basically said that they will be into him for the rest of his career. Remember, they offered 3 early picks for Jason Horne-Francis. They said no. North Melbourne love how competitive and
he's a
quality he
star.
is. So I think Adelaide will be going
All
for
right,
him for
so
the rest of his life.
Freo have got significant COVID issues coming into this game. Probably lucky they're playing North Melbourne.
6. How many players would it take for you to tip North Melbourne? How many players would Fremantle have to miss for you to tip North?
Well, what did West Coast have? 8 out?
I reckon
About
18.
9 out?
18.
Well, yeah, but in
Too
the
many?
game they played North earlier the year, they had something like 9 out. They had 7
that's
waffle
right.
players who'd never
Yeah.
played before. But for a couple of opportunities late, they actually should have won the
Should've
game.
won. So Lobb and Blake Acres and Collier were out.
There's 6.
And
yes.
then today it's Logue
Frederick,
and
Meek.
And
as
Lloyd
well.
Meek.
Lloyd.
Yes.
My man who took
Yeah.
the mark and
Out in
then
the
just
full.
kicked it miles out in the full.
So that is 6.
Yeah.
Wow.
6
But
out.
who do they get back?
And the threat is more. They get Young back, hate the half
Young,
back,
Young.
Yep.
Chapman, and is it Lobb as well?
No, Lobb played last week.
Did he play last week?
Yeah, he's
well,
all right.
certainly Young and Chapman.
Well, he's out anyway with
Yeah,
COVID.
he's out.
Sorry,
with COVID,
sorry.
yeah.
Young,
But
Young and Chapman are
Jim
2.
asked this question, and I reckon I asked it 2 weeks ago, so he's also been listening. But with COVID,
Yeah.
can we know if they have COVID or are they a close contact?
Because in WA, the close contact thing still
Yes. The AFL,
exists.
the AFL like to protect the players' privacy on that front,
I
Bill.
know,
So
right.
that's why they just say they keep it vague.
But
and say
if they
you-
had COVID,
Yes.
it runs on. It goes for a week or 2,
Yes.
as you know, if anyone's had COVID.
Yeah.
It hangs around for a while.
I was flat for a couple of weeks.
That's
Bill.
right. So
Yep.
if they come back after a week, they're going to be flat, you would thought.
But if they're a close contact, there's no problem.
Yes.
That's right. So if
Yeah.
I'm a punter
Yes.
and I'm punting on footy,
You want to know?
I want to know.
Yes.
I'm
well,
a
you
tipster.
are a punter.
It's a fair point. Yeah.
Hey, Marcus Ashcroft, let's talk
Yes.
about him. His young bloke is, tipped to be number 1
Yeah.
in the upcoming draft,
Yeah.
which is obviously not till November. Is he franking that? Is he
Yes.
playing well enough that everyone thinks that his young bloke is going to be the number 1 pick?
He's the number 1 pick at this stage, and he's tied to Brisbane, as we know, as the father-son. So even at the
What is
weekend,
his first name, by the way? I just said his dad is
Will.
Marcus, obviously.
Mark.
So Will's the
Will,
young bloke. Yep.
yes. So at the weekend, he had 24 disposals, 9 tackles, 8 contested possessions, 8 score involvement, 6 inside 50s, 4 clearances, and a 59-point win. He is the real deal. Classy midfielder. And if McStay goes for Brisbane, it would help bolster their draft points balance.
Yeah, right.
To be able to get him at the number
As a
1
father-son,
pick.
yeah.
So if McStay does leave, there is a silver lining for them too with
Any
the
other
Lions.
father sons out
Pardon?
there? Any other father sons you're hearing out there?
Yes, so Essendon has got the 2 Davy boys,
Oh, Aaron and
Jaden and Elwyn Jr.
Yep.
Jaden's done 2 knees,
Oh.
and Elwyn Jr. is very talented also.
right.
So they're 2 who are on the way to the Bombers, we think, so
Yep.
long as the second knee is okay. But that's certainly the plan. That'll help provide that forward pressure potentially, which the Bombers have been missing.
Love it, Jay-Z.
Maxie Brownless? No, hasn't come across your desk?
Not
Playing for college thirds.
quite. Yeah. Okay.
I don't think he's going to make it.
No,
Jim.
Bill, he's a golfer, Maxie.
Yeah,
Yes.
but
He's playing beautiful golf. Hey, tell us anything else before we let you go?
Yes, at Carlton, there's some defensive headaches. So Mitch McGovern, we know, out for 3 or
Yes.
4 months. That surgery on their hamstring. Oscar McDonald still dealing with the back issue. So it puts a lot of pressure on Wiedering and Young, and there's not a lot of depth behind that in the key back position. So Brody Kemp in the VFL, he might have to play a bit of a key defence, but they don't need another injury back there. Otherwise, they will be pretty thin back there. They take on Adelaide on
Have
Sunday.
you
the
heard
Mighty
Bill's
Blues.
theory, because the Mackay brothers have never played against each other, that Harry and Ben are actually the same
The
person?
same guy.
Yeah.
what do you
Hey,
think?
Not bad.
Have you seen them out together, really?
Never.
No.
No. They've never played on. They've never played
It's 7 years.
in the same game. have
7
they?
years. No one's seen them together.
He's back. Benny Mackay, Aiden Core for North Melbourne.
Even
as
on
well.
Mother's Day, there'll be one of them there, and then they won't be there together.
Just a
Hey,
lot of
Jay-Z, brilliant helping from you. I
Yes,
like it.
nice,
a lot.
Jay-Z.
Bill.